Welcome back, guys. It's a cold January morning, so perfect time to get the hammock out. I wanted to show you guys my winter hammock setup. So I brought all the bits with me. I'm going to show you step by step of how I tackle hammock camping in the winter, and just show you my kind of setup for a night. We're going to do a one-nighter. So I brought Becky along with me as well. She's going to do a nice winter hammock camp out. So I just wanted to share what I do to keep warm. I think it's going to be about -2 tonight, so it's a great exercise to practice, and I do like hammock camping. And it's perfect weather as well. It's bright sunshine, what I like, and no wind, no rain. So let's crack on. I brought the Bergen with me today. Got that loaded out, so I'm going to unpack that now and show you what's in it. So this is me 120 Bergen. I've attached me little DD pouch to that. I've just got bits and pieces, electrical bits and pieces in there. And on the top here, just got me little mat, which I'll show you a bit later what I do with that. So I've got my wash kit. I've got my quilt. Nice ridgeline there for me tarp. Tarp itself, 3x3 multicam, which a lot of you guys have seen it, but people that are new to the channel, really pleased with that. I'm hoping to get eventually a canvas tarp, which will be really nice. Then I've got the hammock itself. It's a frontline hammock. And then my under blanket. And my Four Seasons Cathenia bag, which I really like. It's brilliant for hammock camping as well because it's got the centre zip. So I'm going to use that as a quilt, which I'll show you later. And a blanket, a throw. So I'm hoping to set up 2 ridge lines and use the throw to drape over me, which I'll explain later. I love doing that when it's cold, just to keep that heat in and that bit of wind chill. So excited. I do like hammock camping in the winter. When I've done my TP diaries up here, I was in 2 minds whether to sleep out in the hammock, but obviously having the TP with the wood burner kind of spoils you. So perfect opportunity to do this. Right, so first things first, I'm going to set the hammock up between these 2 trees, which is around 4 strides. I tend to go for four large strides when I'm choosing a spot for the hammock. And the great thing about this hammock, the frontline hammock from DD, it's got a nice waterproof sheath that covers it all, so it keeps it all nice and intact in the bag. Then I just use the straps around the trees. So just making sure these straps are not twisted, they're nice and even. And I tend to go kind of the height of my shoulder. Everyone's got their own preference to what height they like it, but it tends to give me a nice lay. I don't want to be too far off the ground, so you can just, you know, get in and out of your hammock quite easily. So that tends to work for me. So if you're new to hammock camping, I'll just go round the tree, the two pieces. This is quite a wide tree, so you've got to stretch a little bit. So I've just looped that round the tree like that. And then I'll just do one overhand knot to start with, just till I set it up properly, and then I'll put another knot in. So as you can see, that's pretty sound. And then I'll do the same on the other side, and that's pretty much your hammock set up. But I do love these, they're so quick and easy, but they are brilliant for winter camping. It just gets you off that ground, stops all that cold from the ground, sucking the heat out of you, which is not good. So let's get this other side set up. But the beauty of this this sheath over here, when you're not using the hammock during the day, you could just pull it back over. It just keeps your hammock quite protected. So same again, if you missed the first time, just go round the tree, bring it back on itself, pull down a bit, and then just a overhand knot. And roughly shoulder height. So that's it set up. Obviously I've got to play around with it. It's still a little bit high, so I'm going to adjust this end, put a bit more slack in it, and it should be at a good height. So that's at good height now. Take this sheath off. So that's a double knot there. That's nice and secure. It's nothing worse than you spending the night and you're worrying about your knots. You know, if they're going to slip during the night, and you've got to get up and retie them, and all your gear's in your hammock, especially when it's cold. And then obviously for extra security or peace of mind, or if you're staying for a longer period of time, what I sometimes do is the two loops in the knot, I'll place a stick, slide a stick in between the two loops, like so. So then that knot's not going to slip at all. So that gives you even more peace of mind when you're sleeping. And like I said, longer term, if you're camped out for multiple days, you know it's not going to go anywhere. So that's the hammock set up. I've secured both sides now with a stick, so I've got peace of mind that I'm going to sleep well, nothing's going to slip or give in the night. And the lay, I have the head end just slightly higher, so if you look, it's roughly level, but I might just slightly tilt that end up a little bit more, just so I'm laying the head up slightly. It doesn't make a huge difference. Some people say, you know, if the head's too low you tend to get headaches and things, but I've never found that. So I tend to keep it pretty much level and just a slight elevation in the head. So that hasn't taken long at all, and you're off the ground, you've got a nice seat, and you're camping. And next thing I would do from here, as it's a nice day, I won't do it, but if the weather was changeable, I would be putting my ridgeline up with the tarp. But as it's a lovely day, I'm going to start talking through the bedding and how I'm going to keep warm in this hammock tonight at -2. So I've been back off me Scotland trip. You know, I've been in a central heated house, so it's going to take a while to acclimatise. I'm only doing one night, so I want to be warm. I want a comfortable night's sleep. You know, I don't want to wake up in the morning all groggy, so I'd rather take more than suffer. So I tend to pack my gear that I'm not going to suffer. I'm going to be comfortable and I'm going to enjoy my camp out. I don't want to go minimalistic and be in the hammock at night and I'm freezing cold and not enjoying the experience. So that's great advice for first time people that want a hammock camp. You know, make sure you're warm, make sure you're comfortable, and you'll enjoy the whole experience. Right, so next will be the under blanket. What I want to do is stop the convection, the cold air robbing my back and my legs of their heat. So an under blanket is a must in winter conditions, or you can put a mat, an inflatable mat inside, or I used to have a wool blanket attached underneath, but obviously I've invested a bit and bought an under blanket. So you just want that dead air space between you and the cold air. You need that air gap, but they're very effective, as are mats as well. But I find the mats, when you put them in the hammock, they roll around, move around. I don't tend to get a great night's sleep, and sometimes they'll flip round and your back's touching the material, and obviously that section's going to get cold. But with the under blanket, it's just sitting there, it doesn't move, and it keeps your back at a nice warm temperature. So I do rate the under blankets. So let's attach that now and see what that looks like. But it's amazing the difference that makes, just that extra piece of material underneath. Even if you haven't got an under blanket, like I said, a wool blanket or something underneath that just traps that dead air space, stops you being robbed of convecting your heat underneath. So that's it there. Nice little package, sits in my rucksack really well. Simple but effective, a bit like me. Right, let's put this on. So I'm tending to put more of the under blankets to cover my torso rather than my feet and the bottom end of my legs. So core temperature is very important when it's cold. And this is a great system. So it just attaches to the hammock via the carabiners and ends on a nice stretchy material, so you get a bit of flex in the hammock when you get into it. And same with the sides of the hammock. There's nice little tabs to attach the carabiners on the side of the front line, so it keeps the hammock from slipping down at night. So there's 4 of them. So that's 4 carabiners attached. and also on the end of each end of the under blanket there's a nice cinching point just to seal that end in so there's no cold air coming underneath between the hammock and the under blanket, so which is a great idea. So I have that nice and tight there. You can see the hammock there, and then the under blanket just sits nice and snug against it, so there's no cold air coming in. Like a tunnel, especially if it's windy, cold air would just come straight through there and straight underneath you. It'd be like a big tube of cold air. So that's a great feature. So that's my bottom part insulated now, and sitting in it now I can actually feel a slight difference in temperature. Obviously overnight it's going to build up and you're going to get that dead air space and that trapped heat from your body. So that's my first layer of protection in the hammock. The next thing I'll do is I'll put my ridgeline up, because inside the hammock there's a mosquito net, so I'm going to support that off this ridgeline, and obviously the tarp is going to be supported by this ridgeline as well. So that's my next task, which is this is a great heavy duty ridgeline, and what I've done is I've attached a few prusik loops to it as well, because I love hanging my bits and pieces off it. And one end I've got a loop in it like that, so I can just put that round the tree and pass the rope through there, and that'll just lock down onto the tree, which I'll show you now. Whew, getting cold, I might dive in the hammock and get warmed up. As it's winter, I don't want the top too high. I want to keep it reasonably low, just to trap some of that heat and keep the wind from, you know, robbing me. I'm going to have the front facing out and obviously drop the back down, because the prevailing wind, well, there's a little bit of wind chill is going to be coming from the back of me. So wrap that round the tree, make a loop in the rope like so, get yourself a stick, place it in the loop, and that's locked off now, so there's no knots required there. And to take it down, same system, just pull the stick out. So I'll show you that again. So that's the piece of cord, the loop on the end. This is the ridgeline. So you make a little loop in that, like so, pass it through, and then put your stick in there like that, then pull down like so, and then that ridge line's locked in position. So great system if you're, like I'm doing, just a one nighter and you want to pack up early in the morning, you haven't got to fiddle around with knots. So that's been my tarp hanging off of that. and the other side I've tied a trucker's hitch just to keep that line taut. If you want to check that knot out, you can type that in and check it out. It's going to be hard to demonstrate that here. That's a great knot if you want a tight ridgeline. So that's lovely and taut now. Hang bits and pieces off there as well. And obviously I've got my Prusik loops on there for attaching my tarp, which I'll show you shortly. The thing I like to do also is I carry a little mat, and this sits down below my hammock so I can get out at night if duty calls and you're not walking around with with your feet wet and standing on spikies and things. So that's a great thing for getting in and out your hammock and not taking all the rubbish in your hammock with you. So I tend to bring that quite a bit. So next, display my inside insulation. You've seen the external insulation from the under blanket. So this is my Cathenia 4-season sleeping bag. I won't be using this as a sleeping bag because I think when you lay in the hammock, where you compress the material, it doesn't give you any heat properties, so hence the under blanket. So what I will do is I'll use the foot box, put my feet in the foot box and use this as a throw to throw over me. So that's going in. So I'll place the centre zip facing downwards. So now that's become a nice throw or quilt inside the hammock. I've hammock camped for a few years, and I think this system that I'm showing you guys now will get you down to some really cold temperatures. Obviously it's -2 tonight. It's a bit overkill what I'm showing you, but it's a great system if you want to sleep down obviously a lot lower. So let's get the quilt out now. I'll show you what I do with that. So this is my hammock quilt. And what I'll do with this, which I'll demo later, is actually get in here so I'm completely covered, and then I'll use my Cathenia 4-season sleeping bag that's in the hammock now as a throw over the top, so I'm doubly insulated, well trebly insulated with the under blanket. So that ridge lines up, and I've got a nice fly netting. So I'm going to attach this. This is surprising, this traps a lot of heat in the winter, so I tend to use it, not so much in the summer, only if the insects are really bad. But in the winter I tend to use this for trapping heat because it's such a fine mesh material. So we put that up now, and this will just attach to my ridge line. So the Prusik loop is probably one of my favourite knots, and it's an ideal knot for hammock camping because this attaches to your ridgeline. It keeps your tarp nice and taut, and you can slide it and position your tarp as you want it, and it locks off. So it's a brilliant knot to learn if you're first time hammock camping or going to get into hammock camping. Definitely learn this knot. So it's just a loop of material like so, which attaches, like I said, to the ridgeline, which I'll show you now. So you place the loop at the top where you've attached the two pieces of cord where the knot is at the bottom. You pass that through twice, then pull down, and then that's attached to the ridgeline, which can then slide. Then under tension it will lock. Awesome knot. So definitely learn that one if you're going to get into hammock camping. So that's set up now, and the next trick I'm going to show you, I find the most valuable sort of trick of them all really. What I've done is I've attached another ridgeline, same procedure as the ridgeline at the top, where my tarp's going to go. But what I'm going to do, you can use any kind of blanket. I'm going to use this one. Wool blankets are probably the best. This isn't wool, but it's still going to hold and stop convection from your body. So I'm stopping it underneath, and by putting this blanket on, it's going to stop it from the side. So I'm kind of doubly insulated, because I'll zip this up in the hammock, and then obviously with this second ridgeline I can put this blanket. Now this is a must if it's going to be really cold. So if it was like -10, -15 out here tonight, this is definitely the setup I'd have. But I'm gonna sleep in this tonight like this, because I do like practicing bits and pieces. And I'm going to place this over the core end of my body, because like I said, the core is the most important. That's your engine. Keep the engine warm. And I can also tuck that in to my under blanket, so I'm completely, my bedding, sleeping area is completely sealed now from wind that's going to rob me of my heat. So that alone, you know, if that's all you had, I think you're better off hanging your blanket over you like that than you are to have it round you. So this is a great system for sleeping out in cold conditions. You know, you're off the floor with the hammock, you're insulated from underneath with the under blanket. I've got 2 sleeping bags in there. I've got my fly mesh under there for side insulation and trapping heat that's rising from inside. And I've also now put another form of insulation on there. So this is a great system. So I'm going to get my shoes off in a minute. I'm going to get in and show you what it looks like. So come sleep time, I would take off my clothes if they're damp or wet. You know, if you've been doing a lot of camp chores and you're all, you know, you've built up a lot of moisture in your clothing, take that clothing off, put some thermals on to get into bed, and that will help a lot. Have a hot drink before you go to bed, or something warm to eat to give you that fuel and energy before you sleep if it is cold. And make sure during the day you don't get too cold all day, and then when it comes to sleep time, your core temperature's cold, your body's cold, and you've got to try and heat it up. You're gonna get an uncomfortable sleep. So a nice warm drink before bed, or something to eat before bed, and then do this system, and I think you'll be quite surprised how warm you are. So let's get the boots off, hence the mat. There's nothing worse than bringing all the debris into your hammock. So obviously I'm not going to get undressed. I'm just going to leave my clothes on. So it's quite chilly, but I'll just give you a demo of what I'm going to do tonight. So I take all these clothes off, take all your layers off, put fresh thermals on if you are damp, so you've got nice bedding. If you've got a luxury of a fire, you know, you can heat your thermals over the fire before you put them on, so you're increasing your luxury all the time. So already, you know, I'm well insulated before I'm even in the hammock. And then I use my sleeping bag as a quilt. I won't be doing this up. Just put my feet in the foot box. So that is great, guys. Absolutely great. I would do this fly screen up. So my fly screen's over me as well. It's absolutely gorgeous in here. You can feel the heat building up. You can't feel any heat being robbed from underneath or at the top. So like I said, it's a great winter system. You know, -2 tonight. This is well overkill. And if you're going down even colder, you could throw in a nice hot water bottle. Like I said, have a nice hot drink and a meal before you go to bed, and you got yourself a great setup. Right, I'm going to get out of here before I get too cosy, and I'm going to put the tarp up and show you the whole setup complete. So on with the tarp now. Obviously if it wasn't so cold or nicer conditions, I wouldn't be using this, but as it's winter it's good to have that top layer of protection. So let's get this up on that top ridge line that we put up earlier. Like I said, if you know you've got something like this for Christmas, or you're planning on hammock camping, go out and keep practicing. There's lots of different things to set up, lots of different systems you can use. This is just my system. This is the one I like. Obviously you can go out and design a system of your own. That's the beauty of doing things like this. You can play around, mix and match your material. You can try a mat inside, you can try an under blanket, you can try wall blankets. You can try, just try sleeping in a layering system with your clothing. So that's the beauty of it. But this is my system, and I hope you're liking it. Maybe go and practice if you like what you see. Same with tarp configurations. You can have it all different ways. You can have it as a diamond. You can have it higher, lower. So what I'm planning to do is have the back down and have a front canopy so I can look out at night and in the morning. So I don't like to be too enclosed, so I can draw that blanket back in the morning and have a good look, and obviously sit there and have a nice coffee and look out at nature. So I'm keeping the tarp half and half. You can have a little front canopy, or you know, you can have a larger canopy at the front and less at the back. You can do so many different configurations. And I leave all my cordage on the tarp. This is a 3x3. Plan your tarp that it covers your hammock. You don't want your too much at the head end and your feet are exposed, and vice versa. So what I'm doing here, I'm just passing the loop that's attached to the tarp through the prusik loop, like so, and then putting a stick the other side, and that'll lock that down now. And same with the other side. I've kept the back nice and low, and then I'm going to bring the front out and make a canopy, I think. So that'll be a nice viewing point when I'm in the hammock, looking out at Mother Nature's garden. So to make the front canopy, I've got a couple of poles. They're already pre-cut because I'm at the camp, so it's quite handy. I'll just put them through the tabs on the tarp. Just wrap around a couple of times just to lock it down, and then just peg them in. That's roughly 20 minutes to set that up like that, you know, if I wasn't videoing. And then you can start adding your luxury items, you know, bits to make your camp out, you know, feel special and give you some memories and make yourself really comfortable so you're not suffering. And you know, I like my luxury items, so let's spruce this up a bit and make it look homely, and I'll show you later tonight when it's all lit up, and so it looks the part. But no, it's great fun, like I just said, setting it all up and trying different things. You don't have to do this setup, you know, you can do something completely different, something unique to yourself. That's the beauty of camping. There's no right or wrong way of doing things. It's just, you know, experiment on what works for you. And this is one of my luxury items. Great piece of kit for making a quick tripod. thing I like about the extra Prusik loops is you can hang your bits and pieces off of them. So everything in its place. Nice torch, easy to get to at night. So awesome little setup. All this, you know, went into my pack. You know, apart from the little extra luxuries like the lantern and the candle holder. So nice and comfortable now. Gorgeous. And I know that I'm going to be warm tonight in -2. I don't know if I'll be using this, but I'll give it a go. So I hope you've liked me go through the whole setup. I hope you found it interesting. You know, I hope you go out there and have a little play yourselves and come up with something like this or something completely different. But no, it's going to be a nice camp out. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Enjoy the great outdoors.